You're listening to Talk of Champions, an Ole Miss Spirit podcast with Ben Garrett.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time!
Hello again, friends. Welcome inside, at least for me, the RiverLand Roofing Studios. I can't find my little house, Judd. There it is. RiverLand Roofing for all your roofing needs. It's riverlandroofing.com. riverlandroofing.com, 662-644-4297. They power everything we do here at Talk of Champions and at the Ole Miss Spirit, omspirit.com, an affiliate of On3. Sign up today for the low price of $1. Welcome inside this live edition of Talk of Champions. Judd U is kind of like a hybrid show. That man on to my, I guess this is to my left, right? I don't know. Wherever you're watching, there beside me is Judd Utermark, Ole Miss slugging second baseman, or do everything. Depends on where he needs to line up. Judd, my friend, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm enjoying this beautiful Oxford. What are we, Thursday today? The days are starting to blend in together. But, man, I'm just happy that we're hosting a regional and we're at home.
You can tell, too. I was in Oxford all day today, man. And, I mean, the vibe is different. You can tell that people are kind of fired up for it, right?
That's right. Yeah,
I mean,
it's a blessing to be able to, that's always one of our goals is to host a regional, host a super regional, and obviously Omaha. In my 2 years here, we haven't been able to do that. So being able to fulfill this goal of ours has been, it's been a pick-me-up in the locker room for sure. And, I really like our chances going into this weekend.
What was it like on Selection Sunday? Y'all knew going in that y'all had secured the host spot in the SEC tournament. But what was it like as y'all were waiting? Did y'all know anything? And what did you think once y'all saw y'all's name come across? Because, again, for y'all, you, Will Furnace, I thought a lot of guys like that have been in this, that have done this for a long time, as commonplace as regionals had become and have been for the most part, or for the vast majority of Mike Bianco's tenure at Ole Miss last handful of years. I mean, this is a new thing for all of y'all, right? Experiencing postseason baseball in Oxford. So seeing it finally come to fruition for all you returning guys, that had to be pretty special.
No, it definitely was. There wasn't much drama when it came to the selection show just because we knew that we were already hosting. I think from whether it was Instagram or X or Twitter or whatever it is, I think they posted out the hosting sites Sunday night. So we already knew that. And, after we almost ran the table in the SEC tournament, we thought we had a good chance of it. No, but the show was awesome. I think they put on a good production, one, and then two, just being able to be in there with all of your teammates and knowing that your season's not over, that you have a chance to win it all, and that, when they put you in there, it's time to get dangerous. So that was kind of the biggest thing for us is like, man, now we're in this thing. No matter if we were the 4 seed or we were the 1 seed, we knew that, we're going to be taking home that trophy at the end of the year.
Thanks to all of you who are watching on YouTube right now. Also from the Ole Miss Spirit, omspirit.com, affiliate of On3. Sign up for $1. If you have any questions or comments you want to make for Judd, of course, leave them in the comments on YouTube or on the Ole Miss Spirit message board. It's interesting because everyone was kind of locked into the same thing. I talked to Clem earlier this week on this podcast, and he mentioned it too. Y'all thought that just beating Florida was enough that y'all were hosting. And then it was like, well, no, you got to beat Arkansas, got to beat LSU, got to do all these things. And as everyone's kind of riding that roller coaster last week, I thought it was really interesting. And I almost texted you immediately. Judd says to the people there, he's like, look, we got to be where our feet are and let's just win the thing in Hoover. And that's exactly what y'all did. That mindset, I think, for y'all, did y'all get caught up in the weeds of it, or how did it all kind of come together, right, for y'all to be able to kick the door down like you did?
Yeah, I think it kind of shows the maturity of our team. One, we have a lot of transfer guys, but guys who have played in other, major conferences and have been to these conference championships. And, the hardest part is a lot of people want to look forward. They want to look to, I call it the bigger trophy, which is the NCAA championship. But, for me, a dream has always been to win the SEC championship. And unfortunately, we were, a couple pitches away from doing it. But we knew that if we could take care of business in the SEC tournament, no matter if, it was beating Florida or Arkansas or whoever was thrown our way, we knew that we liked our chances going into postseason after the SEC tournament. But, the experience that the SEC throws during that championship week it's really cool. They basically shut down Hoover for us. And it's really cool to see all the Ole Miss fans come out to it. But the biggest thing now is like I said earlier, be where our feet are, right? We're at regionals, we're lucky enough to host. And we got some good teams in our regional, and we know that they're going to compete. Some of the teams we've seen or that we're familiar with. So I'm just excited to be in postseason ball. I'm excited to get this chance to play for a national championship because it's always been a dream of mine.
Yeah, and I'm excited for you too, man, because I remember sitting in those rooms and you were talking to any number of your teammates for Judd U here on the Talk Champions Podcast Network, and it was all theoretical, right? Like, this is a different team. We can do this. We got all this now. This is why it'll be different. This is why they'll win. But down to see it actually come to fruition, it's a rewarding thing, not just for y'all, obviously, but for all of us who are rooting you on, man. Because again, you've been a great ambassador for Ole Miss, and it's nice to see you be healthy, hit those bombs, and now to get this opportunity. Rebel Fan 68 wants to know, what did you think about the pitching depth in particular that showed up at the SEC tournament in Hoover? Because that's something that not necessarily was a question mark, but it really showed up. I mean, it made y'all a different team in Hoover when guys like Cade Townsend continued his strong late season run, or I thought Hooks getting out there, man, and giving y'all 4 solid was really impressive. And that gives you a lot of those are encouraging signs, I would say, for the postseason.
Absolutely. And at this point in the season, you know what you're getting from our 3 starters with Elliott, Maddox, and Nichols, right? Because we've just seen their body of work throughout this whole year, and they've been excellent. I feel like the entire year. Maybe a few starts here and there that they would want to take back, but from a player on this team's perspective, there's nothing better than knowing you can roll 3 guys out there, and they're going to give you what they give you almost every weekend. But that was the biggest thing for me in the SEC tournament and historically it's usually lower scoring games. Part of that may be the atmosphere. Part of it might be the ballpark. But being able to see not only our starters go, how they went, and guys like Cade Townsend and Walker Hooks, but also our bullpen just could be completely shut down. I think they went 15 innings and 1 earned run allowed. And even not just from the runs, but just pounding the zone, being able to produce outs and weak contact. It was really, really cool to watch, and it makes our job as fielders easy, especially whenever they're able to get on the field and then they're able to get off the field within, it feels like 5 minutes almost.
Riley Maddox is getting the ball against Murray State on Friday. That's the first game for Ole Miss. It's the 1-4 matchup at 7 p.m. Central Time. Then it'll be Hunter on Saturday. It's a strategic thing, and Mike answered that question fairly early. It's what an advantage, right, to be able to have a guy like Riley that's been in – I mean, he was the Friday night guy all last year that can just give you that leeway to be able to play some games with it or strategize in that way to set yourself up best. What do you kind of think about Riley taking the ball against Murray?
Yeah, no, I love it. And all the guys in the locker room have confidence in him. With Elliott and with Maddox, it's pretty much 1A, 1B, and it can go in any order, really. They're both so elite, and they're really 2 different types of pitchers if you look at it. And I'm not sure if the call was either matchup based off of Murray State's hitters or if it was something else to do with it. But all I know is that we have full confidence in Riley to go out there and to pitch his best stuff like he's done almost all year. And it really makes our job as hitters easy whenever, you got a guy like Riley who pounds the zone, and then you have a bullpen coming right behind him that has, been on fire recently. But, it's just a blessing to have all of these pitchers and all of these starters and bullpen be able to come together, especially at this time of the year, which is the biggest time of the year, because it's now. Right. And like I said earlier, be where our feet are. We can't worry about Omaha right now. We can't even worry about a super regional. We have to worry about Murray State on Friday. And it's really hard for a lot of teams to not want to look forward, right? And they see the path ahead. They see who they're going to have to play. For us, all we can control is Murray State first pitch on Friday.
This is Talk of Champions. I'm Ben Garrett. That Ole Miss slugging monster over there is Judd Utermark, and he and Ole Miss baseball are starting their road to Omaha journey tomorrow, Friday, 7 p.m. Central Time against Murray State in the Oxford Regional, the first game. Today, you're practicing. I was over there in Oxford setting up the RiverLand Roofing studio. We're going to be doing some watch parties as soon as we get it all set up, but it's about done. We're getting to the finish line. I'm going to have Judd there hanging out with me at RiverLand.
Right.
He's been there a couple of times. And we're going to have some live Twitch streams. We're going to do live watch parties, all of that once we get it set up. So be on the lookout for that. We're taking this to a whole nother level. So stay tuned here at Talk of Champions and the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, affiliate of On3. But I mentioned how the vibe felt so much different. Like I said, it's already packing out. People are already showing up. You can feel the vibe shift there. And Bill was like, man, he's so excited. He's going, man, get Judd in here, right now. You know, see if he wants to come talk. I was like, we're not quite ready yet. And y'all were practicing today. What was that practice like? How is it different because the NCAA now kind of manages or regiments that stuff, right?
Yeah. So, you know, like I said earlier, it's a blessing being able to host. But there are definitely some changes that I didn't even know about since it's my first postseason appearance. But the NCAA, they basically run everything when it comes to this tournament. No matter where the host site is, or if it's Ole Miss, or if it's, you know, whoever's playing, it is an NCAA sponsored event. So they take care of umpires, they take care of, I believe, like housing and stuff like that. But they also take care of the scheduling part of it, which is arguably the most annoying part or the hardest part to do whenever you have 4 teams with 30 guys and coaching staffs all trying to, you know, fight for a chance to go into a super regional. So I believe they allotted like an hour and 15 minutes for us to go out there and practice today, and it went in seed order. So we went first, and then Georgia Tech went, and then Western Kentucky went, and then Murray State. I believe they may be going right now. I'm not sure, but and I think it is open to the fans as well to come and watch. It's kind of a cool deal to see, but it's definitely different than what I'm used to. I'm used to, you know, if it takes all day.
We've lost Judd a little bit here on this live edition of Talk of Champions. So there he goes. We lost you for a second. We're good. So yeah, you're not used to that. You said,
yeah, no,
yeah,
it's definitely
you got like a
different.
routine and they're messing it up.
That's right. Oh, I'm trying to get used to it, and I'm hoping that we do this for the next 3 weeks or so. This whole scheduling deal, you know, I'll be fine with it, and I'll get used to it. But it definitely is different for sure.
Dog Brewer asked, "Hey Judd, what is your most favorite versus least favorite place to play on the road during your career?"
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's the same place, to be honest. I think everybody probably has a good guess. I think it's Starkville. You know, it's a really cool atmosphere they have going down there in Starkville, and a, you know, great field and a great stadium. But it sucks to play there. You know, if you look at our track record over the last however many years, they show up, and it's a true rivalry, and fans are mean. You know, they pack it out, and Mississippi State always usually puts together a good group of guys. So it's a lot of fun, but at the same time, it's something that I'm glad I'd probably never have to do again in my life.
What's the scout of Murray State, since that's the team you're playing first, and this is a team that y'all played earlier in the year? It's already been talked about a little bit about some of your teammates so far this week, but this is a Murray State team that took y'all to the wire, man, played y'all into extras. What's kind of the scout of them? What are y'all expecting on Friday? Because I think I was writing up Isaac Humphrey, or maybe it was Riley, but all saying the same thing. I mean, you can't take this group for granted. There's some dogs.
Yeah, no, Murray State's a great ball club. And we were familiar with them, actually probably more than the other 2 teams, just because we played them my sophomore year and this year. And there's a lot of returning guys there that, you know, we've seen twice now. But they're a good ball club. They're coached by a great head coach, and they can really hit. And that's kind of been the theme of, I believe, sophomore year win to extra innings. It's just it's a fun game. It's a slugfest. But also they've never seen Riley Maddox. And Riley Maddox is, you know, he's out there smelling blood and looking for blood. And that's, you know, it makes it awesome to be able to see postseason Riley. Because even for him, you know, with the Tommy John surgery, he wasn't able to pitch in postseason, but he was so dominant his freshman year. It's going to be really, really cool to see how he shines on Friday, and then, you know, we're going to do our job as hitters to take it a pitch at a time, and, you know, no moments can be too big for us, and we're going to get after it.
There's one, I don't want it to be lost, a story that has really stuck out to me this week, and I think it's been a little bit under talked about, if that's even a word, but like it hasn't been talked about enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that you look at the starting rotation, you look at the impact Joel's had. Only one serious injury, and that was Mason, who should be back for this weekend. It's a departure, right? Especially from the last handful of years. The health of the pitchers, the newness and the routine and the things that Joel has brought. I think that's been a big ticket, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's been a really big ticket as far as why Ole Miss is here today, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think it also gives our pitchers more confidence knowing that they're healthy, right? And
Mm-hmm.
guys deal with little tweaks and minor deals here and there, just like anybody does. But we've been lucky enough and we've been blessed enough to stay healthy for the most part this year. And that's half the battle, to be honest. You look at major league teams who go with the same deal where their superstar player goes down. I think of like the Braves with Acuna.
Mm.
And it just, I understand that it's frustrating for everybody in that locker room and it's almost deflating. But for us, we've been blessed to be able to dodge that injury bug. And a lot of credit goes out to Joel and a lot of credit goes out to Josh Porter, our athletic trainer, and John Corello, our strength and conditioning coach, because they've been, I want to say, ultra detailed this year. And not that they weren't earlier, but I think that being able to pair up with Joel and being able to pair up with Clem, and give our hitters and pitchers a game plan on what they need to be doing, and the recovery side of it has been, I don't think you can put a price tag on it for sure.
Was there a time this year, because I'm curious, with all y'all dealt with for the last handful of years, there were times where y'all faced adverse situations, right? But this team, unlike past teams, didn't fold, didn't give in, didn't have those really, really bad valleys, right? Was there a turning point like that this season where you were like, yeah, this is a different team. This is one that can handle these twists and turns a little bit better than past years? Anything stick out?
I don't know about in the season. Obviously, making a run in the SEC tournament gives our team a lot of extra confidence going into this week. The biggest thing I think came from the fall, really, with the pickups of additions like Mitch Sanford and Isaac Humphrey and Ryan Moorman, who basically patrols our outfield, and then some arms and some other position players. I think that was the biggest thing, is seeing how the team clicked in the fall. And, I've been around it. And unfortunately, my first 2 years, I wasn't able to participate in the fall as much as I wanted to. So I did a lot of spectating. And again, it's like you said, it's just a different vibe. And I could have said that probably after the first week, just seeing how mature our team was, the professionalism about them, but also the fun that we had and the way that we connected in the locker room. It was a really cool thing to see in the fall. And now that we're all the way through the spring and we got 3 weeks left, it's a little sad, but it's also, hey, let's cherish these last 3 weeks, and let's win every ball game that we can.
Well, you mentioned Ryan Moorman, him and Isaac, because I just got done writing that Isaac Humphrey story. They had a nasty, nasty collision against Arkansas in the SEC tournament, and you're right there at second base. First of all, what did it look like from your vantage point? And for the Ole Miss fan out there, Ryan Moorman, we know Isaac's good. He came back and played, but Ryan is supposed to be available in at least some capacity this weekend as well. What does it mean to get him back?
It's huge because we know how big of assets they are to this team. But you also feel blessed after seeing that collision. That
Dude.
was, like, I think if anyone else goes through that collision, I think they're in a neck stretcher or a wheelchair for weeks on end. It was absolutely horrible to see that, and you never want to see, no matter what team it is. It's a really bad scene. And with that ballpark in Hoover in the long alleyways, it's just every ball you have a potential to make a play on. So they both, went after it like they both should have. And unfortunately, they were running the same spot. And I'm just blessed that they're both healthy and alive, to be honest. That's my number one priority.
Awful,
And
bro.
anything else is icing on the cake for sure.
That stadium is different. I've covered many a game at the Hoover Met, and when Luke Hill's ball ended up being a can of corn at the wall, I said, "Look, yeah, this is just a different place, man." And not to mention their collision. I mean, homers aren't homers at the Met. and anything can happen, as you saw with those two colliding like that. All right, last question here. Ray J. Jr., what is Judd's most favorite home run? Thanks for being a strong leader in the off season and during the season. You make for great interviews.
Oh, well, thank you, Ray.
Nice old Ray.
My favorite home run, it's probably a tie between my first collegiate at bat being a home run my freshman year. That was really, really cool. And then that's tied with the Mississippi State 3-run home run this year.
Because that went a really long way, Judd.
Yeah, they both went a really long way, and they both kind of looked about the same, almost going foul, staying fair. For different reasons. One, it being my first home run, and it was my first at bat, and it, makes you feel special. But the Mississippi State one, man, you feel like a villain. And, there's no drug that could replicate that feeling of feeling like the villain in front of 15,000 and everybody hating your guts, and they can't do anything about it.
See, you would make an incredible heel in wrestling. If baseball doesn't work out, if this podcasting cease, and you decide, you know what, you want to hit the ropes in a squared circle, buddy,
That's
we
right.
can make Judd a friggin' heel hard tomorrow. He's Judd Utermark. This has been Talk of Champions, a special one in advance of the Oxford Regional tomorrow. Ole Miss plays Murray State at 7 p.m. Central Time on ESPN Plus to get their road to Omaha started. Tune in for that. Judd will, of course, be in the middle of the lineup playing second base as well. Judd, my man, thank you for doing this. Our thanks to RiverLand Roofing, riverlandroofing.com, 662-644-4297. Like I said, that studio over there at RiverLand is about done. So Judd will be dropping by, so many others too, to come hang with us. Should be the coolest online hang for an Ole Miss place that you'll ever see. So be on the lookout for that. Our thanks to RiverLand and the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, and affiliate of On3. Appreciate you, Judd. Let's do it again, and best of luck out there this weekend.
That's right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, RiverLand, as well. And make sure everybody comes out to Swayze this weekend because it's going to be really cool.
You are the man, Judd.